Set your project directory. Make sure you're in a folder called Procedurals. Click OK. Go to File, and we're going to load a scene from the Scenes folder called Procedural1. I have a simple cylinder in here, and I've already put bones in it, so when I select a bone and I pick it up, it curls over. Procedurals in Messiah are mathematical shapes, cubes, triangles, planes, etc. Procedurals in Messiah are also similar to meta effectors in that they have a weight fall off. They're a weight tool. Click into Setup and go to the Tools tab, and we can select our procedural. Click on the plus to add that. We'll just move that to the bottom of the list here. You can see the default procedural that comes in is a sphere. If you go down to the tabs down here, you have a choice of any other shapes. One of the advantages of procedurals is that they have different weight fall-off shapes. So if you pick a cube, the weight fall-off from this procedural will be in the shape of a cube. We're going to pick a plane for now, and we'll just position that right above our cylinder. We can go to the weight list, and we'll multi-select with the control key the procedural and the cylinder, and we'll add it to the drawing list. By default, procedurals don't have any weight on them. But if you go to the weight value tab, you can set the weights to any of the options that meta effectors have. Just go to inverse square for now. You can see that as I move it up and down, it falls off from the surface. If I set the fall off to something a little less, like 5, you can see that it falls off a lot more rapidly. But as I move this around, I get a weight that's in the shape of a plane. Let's close the new item block. We'll change this plane to just points so we can see through it. Make sure our cylinder is still in weighted mode. So we move it down. The other advantage to procedural is they can load an image map and use that as a weight. Go to the Images folder inside the Procedurals folder and pick something called Ribs Displace. If we move this really close, you can see we get kind of a set of ribs going on here, just a set of crescents that are painted in. We can change the size of this procedural so it more closely fits. And right mouse click to position it in world space. To better illustrate the power of procedurals, we're going to attach it to an effect. We'll highlight the cylinder high and add a bloat effect, which moves points out along their normals. From within bloat, you can assign a weight to the bloat effect so that it masks out all the spots that aren't white. And we can bloat them up. So we go into Animate, and we'll push them out. You can see that the procedural has masked off our bloat effect. Now by default, the bloat effect won't let you move the procedural around and have it update. But you can change that to dynamic, and you can position this procedural anywhere on the object you want. The other option, which is combination, will use the setup value from both of the objects to define where it moves. So if I move this and pitch that up, it behaves as if it were a displacement map. So think of procedurals as a method of mapping values inside Messiah, much like texture mapping. If you're in Messiah Animate, you really don't have any access to displacement mapping. But using procedurals, you can create projections that simulate your displacement maps. Go to File. We're just going to save this scene as Procedural 2.